hated. Okay. Anyone need lunch? Write the aim, please. We got a big one today. We are now going to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex without looking at a graph. Get out your hands. When I say vertex, you're doing that. When I say axis of symmetry, you're doing that. When I say zeros or x-intercepts, you do that.
I thought that was.
This is roots, x-intercepts, or zeros. There are 3 labels. Show me the axis of symmetry. Show me the vertex. Show me roots, vertex, zeros, axis of symmetry, vertex, x-intercept. That, hands down. You don't have to do that. You're just ruining it. Today's aim is to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex. We're not going to worry about, Sasha, we're not going to worry about the roots today. Start out again with the standard form of a quadratic function, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. If you don't have a graph, you can determine the axis of symmetry and the vertex of a quadratic function using algebraically. It is. First, a story. So Mr. Mack was in 8th grade, and I had a crush. Like, I'll just be up. I was really shy. I had a crush, and I had seen this girl. We grew up in the same church, 2 miles down the road from each other, and we're going on this trip, and we were going on a camp out trip, and I told my friend. We called each other B for bro. It was like our code word for best friend. I'm like, B, yo, I really like that girl, and her name is Christina. And he's like, okay, well, we need a code name, okay? So code name for her, so we don't like know what she's talking about or we're talking about her. Let's call her 2A. Just like random. I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. B, fist bump. Okay, so we're going on the backpacking trip. We got our backpacks. I'm making sure I got my like cut off sleeves. And I'm flexing like a little bit as I walk. And I go past her and I just say, hey. And she like doesn't look at me. Like, all right, plan B. Next time I get to the lake and we set up camp, I get my fishing pole out and I'm just casting it in, just ready to pull in a huge trout, just showing her like how I cook it up and like make a cool meal. I catch nothing.
How old were you
at all. I'm in 8th grade. Okay. So I go to plan C, and we're going up a mountain. And I realize that we're gonna go up to the peak of the mountain, and I'm gonna like go up there as fast as I can. So she sees me like working hard, and I get up to the peak, and I'm just gonna like start throwing rocks off the cliff, just like randomly. And that's my next plan to impress her. So I get up there, and I just start throwing rocks, and she doesn't even like care. She's just like walking with her friends. I'm like, okay, nothing has worked so far. So I'm all out of options. We spent the night. Our whole group packs up camp. We walk back, and I'm just pretty dejected. And I'm walking on the trail back. B's next to me. 2A is right behind me, and I'm just like, at this point, it's over. I'm so sad. And I just like look at the ground and smack right into a signpost. No. And I just like I know it's over by then. And I was just like super sad. And B looks to me. And he says this.
Oh.
Yo, stop being so negative, B. Stop being so negative, B. Stop it. Get over. Stop being so negative, B. Get over to A. And that is how you find your axis of symmetry.
I'm gonna hurt somebody.
So backstory, guys. That is semi like some truths, some made up stuff. But I did meet my wife Christina on a backpacking trip in 8th grade. She did like not really talk to me, and I did kind of have a thing for her. Some of the stuff is made up, some of it's true. You can sift through the truths. Yeah, we're like junior high sweethearts, kind of. We dated in high school. You are sworn to secrecy. You cannot tell anybody that story. The only group that gets that is Algebra 1 students. You are the only one, so hold it in your heart. It is secret. Yeah. In summary, you will now never forget how to find the axis of symmetry. It is a boring equation. Today's work is really just like throwing numbers into this equation and spitting out the axis of symmetry, but you will always remember what it is. Once we know the axis of symmetry, how do you think we might find the vertex? If your vertex is going to be x comma y, and you find the axis of symmetry. If x is the axis of symmetry, well, how would I find y? If I know x, I'm going to start plugging in numbers here to get y by itself. That's coming up next, but let's just jot that down quickly. We might find the coordinates of the vertex by substituting x into the quadratic function. Example 1. What is the axis of symmetry? Your goal is to get x equals some number. If you find x equals a number, you know that that line goes through the x-axis. That is our goal. That's what we're going for. Write that over here as our goal. Find x by itself. Then we're going to write your equation. How do we find x? Well, don't be so negative, B. Get over to A. I will never stop. Here's how we get the numbers, okay? A is equal to, I'm going to pause you and hand down. A is equal to the number in front of x squared. Go up to here, your quadratic function, A is the number in front of x squared. So for this one, A is going to be 1. Write A equals 1 below x squared. I'm going to go through this and get to your hand in a minute. B is the number next to negative 8. So B is next to x, excuse me. So B is negative 8. C is negative 9. You'll need that for later, but not for today. Get in the habit of still writing it. Okay. Questions at this point? Tony? It's part of the equation. I could go deeper into why this works today. I'm just telling you my funny story, and we're going to kind of be a little bit more robotic in solving it. I just want to have the equation there, get comfortable filling it in, but this is just how you find x. There's a whole backstory proof of why it works, but I don't want to get into that. Tanner, question?
Did you actually smack your head against the side?
I did. That part is true.
Oh, wow.
Negative b. Okay, top of the equation. We're going to start just filling in numbers here. So b is negative 8. Watch what I do. Negative 8 goes on the top. Why are there two negatives next to b? Sasha? There's a negative here, and there's a negative in front of the 8. You need two negatives. Then you have 2 times a. What is a in this quadratic, Elliot? It's 1. So let's do 2 times 1 on the bottom. Okay? So we're getting closer. There's our equation with our numbers filled in. Let's start simplifying it. Negative 8 is positive 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So you just found x equals 4. That is your axis of symmetry. Label it. It goes through 4. Yeah.
Are we
What?
gonna find a way to like simplify all this like a week?
No, this is the process for finding axis of symmetries. This is it. You plug it into the equation. That's why I told you this story. It's going to be stuck in your head forever. Yeah. Felix.
Get over and B. Is A always the first X and then B always the second?
A is always the number next to x squared. B is always the number next to x. If x squared is switched around and like they try to trick you and put x squared as the last term, A is still the one next to x squared. Wyatt, great question. Did you catch that? A is always the number next to x squared. What is the turning point? So if you just found x equals 4, the turning point is the vertex. Let's find the vertex using your quadratic. If I know that x is equal to 4, I can use the quadratic to help me find y, since the vertex is always in xy format. You know it's 4, but what is y? Let's start plugging it in. Write your quadratic formula from example 1 and start plugging in 4 to every x. This equals 4 squared minus 8 times 4 minus 9. 4 squared is whole class? 16, okay. Negative 8 times 4 whole class? Is it negative or positive? Since there's a negative times the positive, same good, different bad, it would be negative. And bring down your 9. A few more steps. 16 minus 32 is? Negative, negative 16. If you need to show work, go ahead and jot it on the side. That would be 16. Negative, because 32 is a negative. And negative 16 minus 9 is negative 25. You just found the value of y. Remember, the vertex is always in xy form. It's that point. So your vertex is 4, 25. That's your vertex. Negative 25?
Thunder.
Sure. Mark it, please. Okay, you try this one. Do you guys have enough room in the you try section? If you need to get scratch paper out, that's fine. I'm going to cold call through the first step, and then you're going to work with the partner on the second step. Find the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is always x equals some number. So your goal is x equals something. How do I find the axis of symmetry? First thing I'm going to do is label A, label B, and label C. A is negative 3, B is 6, C is 5. I need you to label for today's notes and the homework, as well as independent work. A is negative 3, B is 6, C is 5. How do I find the x or the axis of symmetry? Mariah, what's my next step? So what's my equation again? Good, don't be so negative b, get over 2a. So what's the top of the equation look like? Okay. What's the bottom look like, Mariah? Yeah. 2 times negative 3. And that simplifies to negative 6 over negative 6. What is x equal to, Jackson? Good. So there is your, what did you just find? Not the vertex, but the axis of symmetry. Show me. Axis of symmetry. What did you just find? Axis of symmetry. Vertex is going to be the y. So if you found x, the vertex needs that missing y. You know it's 1, comma, something. Write the full quadratic. Do this one on your own. If you need help with the next step, look on the board, copy it down, and you should be good. You got it? No, because 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. Good point. Wyatt, stop. Raise your hand if you have the answer. What did you get, Abby? For Y? Okay. And Sarah, you got 20 as well?
Yeah.
Anyone get something different? Wyatt? Okay. Here's option A. Here's option B. A lot of us got 120. A few of us got 15. Tony, did you get something else? 1 comma 8. Okay. There's option C. Let's dive into it and see where our blunders might be. If you have 1 squared, I didn't clarify this very well. So 1 squared does not include the 3 in that power. The 2 is only next to the 1. So this is actually negative 3 times 1. Fix it if that was your blunder. Negative 3 times 1, and then 6 times 1 is 6. 5 is just 5. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Plus 6 plus 5, keep simplifying. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. This should be C as our option. Find your blunder. Anyone want to be brave and just point out where the blunder was? Sasha? The exponent here threw us off. Good. Make a note of that. 1 times 1 is 1. You do not do 3 times 3. Yeah.
Because in the packet, the example 1 says what is the axis of symmetry,
Mhm.
and now it's saying what is the vertex, but for both of them, we're getting an XY answer.
So axis of symmetry is just x equals. You found the axis first, but to get the vertex, you need to find the axis of symmetry. You can't find xy if you don't know x first. So you will always take the steps of find x, use negative b2a, and then find y. Put it together, that's your vertex, x comma y. Next page. I know, I'm thinking. I hear your question. 47 minutes are gonna slowly crush me until I just wither away. I think I'm going to skip example 2, and we'll do word problems tomorrow, and maybe throw in a community circle. Skip example 2, save it for later, don't cross it out. We will do example 3 though. So an equation of a parabola that has x equals negative 2 as its axis of symmetry is what? This problem is working backwards. They give you the answer. You now have to plug in 1, 2, 3, and 4 to figure out what the options are. Start out as the more you do this, you might be able to guess what the answer is and then start there. Start with 1. I'm looking for negative b over 2a, getting negative 2. So let's plug in that for 1. Negative 4 over 2 times 1. That's 4 over 2. Is that negative 2? I just plugged it into my equation. That wasn't negative 2. X equaled 2. That doesn't work. Cross out 1. Let's check 2. Plug this into the equation, please, Porter. X squared minus 2x plus 3 looks like what?
Negative 2.
You got it. Let him think. Raise your hand if you wanna help out. Porter, you said negative 2. Look at the board. If you have a negative b, what was your b number for number 2? What's the b value? It's not 2, but -2, right? So if I have a negative b, the b value is actually not 2, but -2. Do you see the difference? That is a huge blunder. Make sure that you note that. If you see why it's a -2, nod your head. If you don't see that, just give me like a, I don't really agree. We got that part? Okay. 2a would be 2 times what, Porter? 2 times 1 is 2. So put it together. 2 over 2 is 1. That does not match. Should I try 3 or 4? 3. Go ahead, Karen. Help me set up the equation.
You do the
Two times what number?
2.
Okay. Simplify that, Kieran. -8 over 4 is what? Was that your x value you were looking for? It was. So 3 is your answer. 4 probably doesn't work. I want you to circle number 5. And that's it. You're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 in the next 10 minutes. If you need help, whisper talk to a partner. If you're talking about math, that works. Check your answer in the back.